half a second left and you didn't call it. What was the thought process there?
Yeah, we need to call a timeout there.
And then in overtime, I know you like to play without calling the timeout. Was there any part of that possession where you thought maybe we're not getting something, we need to take a timeout?
No. Giannis attacked. Giannis got the ball to Chris. Chris attacked. That's how we always play. It's been very good for us. And, we weren't able to convert it tonight.
Would you have liked to have defended Jimmy more one-on-one?
Yes. Out of respect, you gotta let the coach, make the adjustment, and we have our best defender on him. But obviously, this conversation with Drew, whenever he gets tired, I can take him. But he's so competitive, plays so hard, and he wanted to take the challenge. But at the end of the day, I wish I could guard him more, for sure.
Welcoming in our senior writer Zach Lowe into the conversation because, Zach, I'm flabbergasted. I mean, still this morning, the lack of timeouts, the fact that the Bucks led by double digits entering the fourth last two games, right? And then the Heat had lost 51 straight games when they entered the fourth trailing by double digits, and then they just won twice in a row. Can you help me here? How did this happen?
Can I help you?
Please.
No, I need someone to help me. Look, when a number one seed at home with a two-time MVP facing elimination loses a 16-point lead in 12 minutes or less, two things happen. The trailing team plays its butts off, and you guys covered that. We might never see a player play a series any better than Jimmy Butler just did on both ends of the floor. But the leading team also collapses, and there's just no way to sugarcoat it. This was a complete collapse from the Milwaukee Bucks on offense, and it's the kind of loss that you're never the same after. The Bucks will never be the same again after coming apart like this. To not call a timeout at the end of regulation, to not get a shot off at the end of the game, to hot potato the ball out of bounds because you don't want to get fouled and almost throw your season away in the process. Giannis fouled Max Strus on a three-point shot when the Bucks were still within two. We didn't even show that. The shot selection down the stretch in the half court is a movie that we've seen before. The letting Jimmy Butler go off without double teaming him, without adjusting, without doing very much in the way of adjustments. It's a movie we've seen before. This is a reckoning for the Bucks. Mortality comes for you fast in the NBA. Chris Middleton has a player option. He's 32. Brook Lopez is a free agent. He's 35. Drew Holiday will be extension eligible next season. He's 32. There's not a lot of young talent in the pipeline. This is an all-time jaw on the floor stretch of basketball from the Bucks last night. There's just no other way to put it.
You just touched on it, so I do want to bring Brian Windhorst into the conversation because the consequences can extend so far beyond just this game, Brian. What's next for this Milwaukee Bucks team? Oh, it looks like, Brian, we might have to wait a little bit longer just as he deals with his microphone. But, Roz, when you look at the future for Milwaukee here, what do you see?
Well, I see a Milwaukee team that, has all their eggs in this basket. And for me, as somebody who was on sidelines for this series and covering it, I mean, I was actually on my way supposed to be going to Miami to work Game 6. Jimmy put an end to that, and I'm glad to be here with you guys today.
We are too.
But I was really just focusing, I was compelled by the matchup between Jimmy Butler and Drew Holiday. And there was a lot of familiarity in that matchup, and Drew is certainly an excellent defender. It wasn't for a lack of effort, but it seemed like they really had each other's card, and that didn't work out for Drew. It was Jimmy's advantage. So in speaking with Drew, he understood that it was Jimmy was going to get to the basket, that he was going to get to the free throw line. He even said, he admitted that Jimmy was stronger, that he could cut in front and behind him. And for me, you hear at the end of the game on this play that sent the game to overtime, Jimmy had familiarity and the ability to anticipate and predict what was coming from Drew Holiday. He said he wasn't going to shoot the gap, that he was going to get physicality. And therefore, he knew that Drew was going to be trailing him if he was able to turn the corner. So he was able to call and ask for that play, and that ability to feel comfortable within a matchup that is tough was bad for the Bucks. And usually you see a star player, they said, we're going to throw different bodies on you, keep him uncomfortable, show him crowds and bodies. A lot of times, Drew was one-on-one in a situation where Jimmy's on a heater. He played 47 minutes last game. Plus, he's got to run your offense on the other side. I think fatigue could have been a factor, too.
Let's zoom back out. Brian, I understand that your mic may be working now. What do you think this all means for Milwaukee?
Well, they were facing a very difficult situation this summer, even if they had won the title, because they have, as Zach mentioned, they have guys in their 30s who need to get paid, and they have Giannis, who's in his 20s, who has a contract extension situation. I think it is unlikely that Giannis extends his contract this summer. He does have 2 years left, but with everything that's going on with the team, and considering that there is new ownership, that makes it very difficult. And the Bucks are headed into the repeater tax. This is what happens to teams that are contenders year over year, and they spend. So everything on this team is about to get more expensive. Plus, we have new rules coming in that is going to limit the way they can improve this roster going forward. They are a late-stage contender with a superstar in his 20s.
Right.
And Malika, there are teams in this league watching very closely to see what happens with the Bucks this summer, notwithstanding a decision potentially on Mike Budenholzer.
Right, because all in all, Milwaukee fell short. That's just what it is at the end of the day. It's short of what we all sort of expected from what we've seen from the Bucks all year long. But Giannis gave a really insightful answer when the Athletics' Eric Name asked him how he's judging this team's success. Take a listen.
Do you view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get a promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, I don't know, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success, you know. And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, you know. Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure. That's what you're telling me. No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. You know, there's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're gonna come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball, you know, and hopefully we can win a championship. So 50 years from 1971 to 2021 that we didn't win a championship, it was 50 years of failures? No, it was not. It was steps to it, you know, and we were able to win one, hopefully we win another one.
Perk, your reaction.
My reaction is that, are we serious right now? Is Giannis serious right now? This was a complete failure by the Milwaukee Bucks. You were the number 1 seed, the best team in the league, the favorites to win it all, and you lost to the 8 seed who got in through the play-in tournament, who's missing their 3rd best player in Tyler Hero. Also, Victor Oladipo went out. So when I think about it and I'm looking across social media, I'm seeing everybody saying, oh yeah, Giannis, right on. Preach. He's the prime example of what we need as the face of the league. I love this for life. Well, we're talking about sports. Sports is about competing. And when you have expectations and you don't come close to reaching those expectations, you fail. And there's no other way around it. If it was any other player, and LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, they had the number 1 seed with the best team and got upset by the 8 seed, we would be having a different conversation no matter what he said at the podium. So I look at Giannis and, oh, he's the good guy. But was he the good guy when he was making a joke about KD, saying about leading the team and he'll show him? And I know it was comedy, but sometimes the truth lies inside of jokes. So at the end of the day, I'm not buying that, and nobody else should be buying that, and we shouldn't be, way to go, Giannis, on that speech. I'm not rolling.
We're going to get back to this a little bit later in the show because there's a lot there. I appreciate the response from Giannis. I appreciate the question from Eric. But we have so many games to get to here on NBA Today, including, John Morant and Desmond Bane. They kept their playoff hopes alive last night, joined some elite company along the way. Find out what they did. That's coming up next. Plus, we are going to stick in the West because the Dubs, they got a much-needed, and where did they win, Perk? Was it at home?
No.
Oh, no, sir. What? It was on the road for the Bay Area. So are they going to close out in 6? I know Perk has some thoughts on that one. And say it with me. Go, New York, go, New York, go. Come on, Perk. I know you got that rhythm.
Orange and blue sky.